Let's do this.
Next Generation 911. It's ushering in a golden era of emergency communications. With real-time video, smart sensors, and AI-powered analytics, all converging to save lives. But as the data flows faster and deeper, many are asking, are we protecting the public or profiling them? In this episode of TiPS, we'll dive into the not-so-subtle creep of surveillance that may be lurking behind that high-definition transparency. That's coming up next on TiPS, Today in Public Safety.
Welcome to TiPS, Today in Public Safety, your go-to podcast for today's breaking stories and public safety news. Here's your host, Fletch, with today's tips.
Welcome to TiPS, Today in Public Safety. This is Fletch. I'm an ENP and a Vice President of Public Safety Solutions at 911 Inform. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I bring you the latest, most informative, and sometimes a bit controversial takes on emergency communications. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on NG911's data deluge and ask the tough question, are we still helping people or just tracking them? Next Generation 911, the game changer we asked for. First, let's start off with some kudos. NG911 is amazing. It's like your old 911 system got a Silicon Valley makeover with the ability to receive texts, videos, location data, IoT sensor alerts, and maybe even your blood pressure if your smartwatch gets a little chatty. All of this is designed to help first responders save time, lives, and resources. Faster response, better accuracy, and a clearer picture of the scene. You bet. Sign me up. But wait, what about surveillance creep? That's the phenomenon where systems built for transparency and safety start inching their way into constant monitoring. You know that security camera on the corner? It's not just for catching car accidents anymore. It's feeding data into NG911 systems. What about that smart thermostat in the school? It's part of a building's emergency response plan. Oh, and that wearable fitness tracker? Yeah, that'll ping your coordinates when you collapse from a marathon pizza binge. More data, more responsibility. We have to stop and ask, what's happening to all this data? Who sees it? Who stores it? And how long does it hang around? A system that tracks your phone's GPS when you call 911 is helpful. A system that keeps that data indefinitely or combines it with other sources to build a behavioral profile? That's a digital yikes. So when public safety crosses into persistent tracking, even with the best intentions, it stops being just a service and starts becoming surveillance. And here's where, if we're not careful, NG911 might evolve into Big Brother's slightly more patriotic cousin. Transparency does not equal tracking. Here's the thing, transparency should empower emergency response, not invade your lunch break. We can and must build NG911 systems that are privacy-respecting, audit-friendly, legally accountable, and ethically designed. That means that both agencies and tech vendors need a strong governance model, data minimization strategies, and clear opt-in, opt-out policies for users. Because when grandma hits the medical alert button, she shouldn't have to worry about being added to a database that's assuming she's a threat to national security. So what can you do? Look, whether you're a PSAP, a policymaker, or just a citizen with a curious mind and a grudge against invasive tech, here are a few takeaways for you. Ask your vendor hard questions. Where does this data go? It's not a paranoid question, it's a governance strategy. Next, advocate for privacy by design. Vendors need to build NG911 systems that collect only what's needed, hold it for only as long as it's needed, aka use it responsibly. Educating the public. People need to know what data is collected and how it's used. And they need to learn that before there's a breach. And finally, push for policy and oversight. Next Generation 911 should never be a shadow surveillance tool, so we need to legislate accordingly. That wraps up today's episode of TiPS, Today in Public Safety. Thanks so much for listening. For more updates and insights, you can follow me on most social media at Fletch911 and visit 911tips.com for a complete archive of all of our previous episodes. Stay safe. Thanks so much for listening. And if you're in public safety, thanks for what you do every day. I'll catch you next time.
You've been listening to TiPS, Today in Public Safety, your go-to podcast for today's breaking stories and public safety news. Hosted by Fletch and available every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Catch past episodes on 911tips.com. That's 911tips.com. Be sure to like and subscribe, and remember to join us each week for the latest on NG911. I am Spider Harrison, the official 911 voiceover dude. Catch me on Sirius XM on various channels, including 90s on 9, the 10 spot, and on the Weekend Countdown on Hits 1. Or don't regret it for the rest of your life. Either way, I'm good. TiPS is brought to you by 911 Inform, the leading next-generation 911 solution for enterprise compliance with federal 911 regulations. Visit them on the web at 911inform.com. 911 Inform, making every second count when it matters the most.